In problem 1E on page 85, we're talking about supply curves and shift and movements along supply curves. So I'm going to start with the familiar supply and demand model with quantity supplied on the x-axis and price that corresponds to those quantities supplied on the y-axis. I'm talking about supply, so I'm going to draw my supply curve, which is upward sloping from left to right, which represents the assumption that producers are profit maximizing, and as the price of a good that they supply increases, so does their supply to the market. They're going to try to capture that increase in prices. The problem says new technologies have made it possible to build larger cruise ships, which are cheaper to run per passenger. Caribbean cruise lines offer more cabins at lower prices than before. Again, a lot of extra details that are really not needed. We produce here, the supply is cruises or cruise ships. And we start with, so let's imagine that we start at this price. So at this price, the number of cruise lines or cruise cabins, so that each passenger gets a cabin, I suppose, is this price, and it corresponds to this quantity of cabins occupied by passengers. And now you have new technologies that are introduced that allow you to make more cabins and at cheaper prices, so that it's also cheaper per passenger. We can see from the chart on page 84 that when the technology used to produce a good improves, the supply of the good increases. So again, nothing has changed. It may be the case that they're able to offer lower prices to their customers, but initially nothing has changed in terms of the price at which they're supplying this amount. At this same price, because of this increase in technology, they are able to produce more cabins and offer more spaces to passengers. And so the supply curve shifts to the right. They're not offering more because of any change in price. They're not putting in more cabins because the price of cabins has increased. They're doing it because of improvements to technology. And so the entire supply curve shifts to the right. How they charge customers after that is not really important in this problem. And this corresponds, if we come down to the x-axis, again I made this x-axis too short, it corresponds to a new quantity supplied that it has increased. And so the answer to this problem is that this is a shift of the supply curve. That concludes your homework. I hope it makes sense, and if it doesn't, you can email or see me during office hours.